Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
A man on his way to work is taught a deadly lesson when he is reminded that humans are not at the top of the food chain. And then we take a look at the story of a young woman driving home one night when she is so sleepy she has to pull over at a rest stop. She thought she was just going to take a quick nap. Instead, she had a close encounter of the cruel kind. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. Hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing, and I hope you guys have some awesome plans for the weekend. I think I'm going to go see the new Mortal Kombat movie. That's in my plans, and maybe I'll check out the Michael Jackson movie again. I've been meaning to see it again. Like, please don't, because the last time you saw it, you just made Michael Jackson jokes for every episode that week. I'll try to not do that if I do see the Michael Jackson movie again, but no promises. But someone who always keeps their promises, someone who doesn't have their fingers behind their back crossed, your friend and mine running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Everyone get on your feet and give it up for Santa. Woohoo, yeah, wee! Snow's falling. Big fat oaf walking on into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Santa, it's not the actual real Santa Claus, just so we're clear, in case you were wondering. You're like, wow, this podcast is really getting out there. Apparently he's the number one podcast in the North Pole. It's not the real Santa, as far as I know. Last year, Santa shared his Spotify Wrapped with the world, letting everyone know that Dead Rabbit Radio is his favorite podcast. And Santa, because you got the word out, that is why you are going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially, do what Santa did. Travel around the world delivering presents. That might get you on the show. No, do what Santa did. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Now, full disclosure, this episode isn't the episode I originally planned. Like, oh, so just a bunch of stuff thrown together, a bunch of random stories. Originally, I did a whole segment, it was like an hour long, about this U.S. pilot who got shot down over Laos and was a prisoner of war for 6 months. Too many jokes. And I was goofing off too much during the whole thing. And it was just too much. Also, like, Memorial Days is in like 2 weeks. And I thought, well, I probably should release this episode. I also, to be fair, it wasn't even that funny, if I gotta be honest with you. A lot of the jokes didn't land, so it was bad on both ends. One, I was making fun of this guy who barely survived 6 months in captivity, all the horrible things he endured, and then it wasn't even that funny. Listen, if it was a laugh riot, you'd be listening to it right now. I probably would have put it out. But with Memorial Day coming up, and it's pretty tasteless to be making fun of this guy. Well, here's the thing, okay? The first story of this episode, you can go, what's the difference, Jason? It's just a different guy. Well, Anyway, so I did have to scramble for some stuff real quick. And let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get started with this episode that I pieced together right before going to air. Santa, let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to toss you the keys to the Hare hovercraft. Everyone climb on board our dedicated swamp vehicle. We're leaving behind Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Santa, why don't you hover us all the way out to South Africa? We're all headed out to South Africa. Specifically, we're headed to Komati Port. That's in the Mpumalanga province in South Africa. It's April 27th, 2026. It's a super recent story. I mean, at least with the story that I did about the Vietnam veteran, everyone's dead by now. That story took place in 1966. But yeah, I guess you can kind of tell where this story is going. It's absolutely brutal. We're about to meet a man named Gabriel Bautista. He's 59 years old, and he's headed to work. He's actually the manager of a local hotel and bar, the Border Country Inn. And he's headed to work, but the problem is there's a huge rainstorm going on. And Gabriel runs out to his car. He's like, oh man, look at this horrible rain. And he shuts the door real quick. He's sitting in his car and like just dripping wet. He's like, oh, I hate the rain. I actually don't know. He might have loved the rain, but I'm just guessing. I'm trying to build the mood. But anyways, he's in the car. He's dripping wet. He starts up his 4x4 Ford Ranger and starts headed to work. This isn't the first big rainstorm they've had in the area. So when he gets to the bridge, there's this bridge near a golf course in the area, and he sees the water just splashing over the bridge. The bridge is pretty low, and the water's just crashing over it. He's like, oh, are you kidding me? But he's driven in this type of weather before. He just powers through it. So it doesn't stop him. He goes, I gotta get to work. I'm the manager of the hotel and the bar. I gotta get to work. This bridge looks like it's pretty flooded, but I've done this before. I've done this exact same trip 100 times before in similar weather. He starts to drive across the bridge. But Gabriel underestimated how strong the current was. Because as he's driving across the bridge, the current starts to tip his Ford Ranger. Whoa, 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 whoa! And it tips over on its side. And now he has crashed. He's off the bridge. The Ford Ranger is now on a pile of rocks jutting out, sharp rocks. Probably, didn't say in the article. But most rocks are sharp, I'd argue. Don't look that up. You're like, what are you talking about? Look at my pet rock over there. He's as soft as can be. I don't know. Jamie, look that up. Are more rocks sharp or... He's leaving. Jamie's leaving. He's like, I quit. I'm not doing this job anymore. Are more rocks sharp or soft? Not soft, curvy. Not curvy. Rounded. We'll figure that out. But anyway, so maybe it was nice round rocks. It doesn't matter. His Jeep is now tipped over. Not Jeep. His Ford Ranger is now tipped over in this huge rainstorm. It's off the bridge, and things have gotten incredibly bad. Now his safety's in jeopardy. It's no longer about getting to work on time. It's about survival. He's groaning and moaning as he's crawling out of his car. And he gets out of it, and it's still sitting there on the rocks. Rainstorm coming down hard. The flooded river, because there was a bridge. Did I mention there was a river? I mentioned there was a bridge. The bridge went over the river, but normally the river wasn't so high, and you could just drive over it, no problem. But now the river was higher than the bridge, and he tried powering through it. He climbs out of his vehicle and then attempts to wade across this rampaging river to try to get to shore, to try to get to safety, to try to stay alive. Now, really, we don't know any of that specifically. When the police are called out to this area, all they see is Gabriel Bautista's Ford Ranger off of the bridge onto the rocks. That's all they know for sure. Everything else they had to guess. But it's pretty likely, right, that when a car tips over and it's in a rampaging river, you're going to want to try to get out of the vehicle. Did he try to wade across the river? Was he determined to just sit in a part of his car that wasn't underwater and wait for help? When he was trying to get out of the car itself, when it tipped over, was he washed away? We don't know. All authorities know is they found Gabriel Bautista's car off of the bridge, tipped over on these rocks, and there's no sign of Gabriel. But they have a pretty good idea of where he's at. Because this all happened on the Comatee River, and on the Comatee River, downstream from this bridge, is the Kruger National Park. And it's definitely earned its name. It was named after Freddy Krueger, I'm assuming. Apparently it's a world-famous national park in South Africa. I never heard of it, but apparently people know about it. But it's not like they thought he got washed down the river and then decided to spend the nice day in the park. Maybe they could go there and see him with some cotton candy looking at giraffes and stuff like that. No. They knew that if he wasn't in the vehicle and he didn't make it to safety, they knew where he was, most likely in the belly of a crocodile. Because Kruger National Park apparently is world famous, but locally it's known for the dozens of crocodiles that are just chilling there. And not far away, about 60 meters away from where this bridge is, there are all these muddy banks and islands and stuff like that, and it's the home of dozens of crocodiles, massive beasts. And so the authorities go, well, that's probably where Gabriel is. He probably got washed downstream and a crocodile ate him. But you can't just end the investigation like that. You have to, 1, know for sure, and 2, get revenge. If one of these beasts is eating a human, you gotta kill it. So they launched the drone, and they're looking around, flying down the river, and they're looking for Gabriel, kind of hoping maybe he's like clutching onto a rock or something like that. They don't see that. They get to the place where all of the crocodiles are, and they're doing crocodile stuff. Being underwater, hiding in the mud. But there's one crocodile kind of resting on the beach. Because at this point, the storm has stopped. The sun is out. And there's this crocodile just sitting on the beach, motionless. And that is a sign that a crocodile has eaten a big meal recently. This is how they just kind of sit there and relax as their body digests all that meat and flesh and bone. The authorities are watching this crocodile on the drone, and they go, that's probably where Gabriel is. Gabriel is probably literally in the belly of the beast. So they gotta find out, though, right? They just can't go, it's an investigation. Plus, you want revenge. It ate a human. You gotta kill it. So what they did, this is pretty novel, right? So the law enforcement team in this area, they understand the danger of crocodiles, and there's a ton of them here. So what are they gonna do? They have to get this crocodile, and they want to find out if Gabriel's actually inside. Not like they're expecting to find him like Pinocchio and Geppetto and a whale or anything like that. But you kind of just want to know. So, step 1, they had a sniper shoot the crocodile in the brain. Which is no easy feat, because reptiles have such a small brain. Although I would argue, a high-powered round ripping through any skull is going to destroy any brain inside of it. They shoot the crocodile in the head, it kills it. Okay, but there's still dozens of crocodiles all around. This crocodile, their target, weighed a half a ton. So it's not like you can just walk up with a wheelbarrow and throw it in and hope not to get eaten by all of the other crocodiles. So what they did was they blew that one up. They shot him in the brain. Then a helicopter came in, and a police officer, Captain Johann Potgeiter, going by the nickname Potty. I would never use that nickname, ever. But I guess maybe it means something different in South Africa. But anyways, they go, hey, Potty, you ready? And he goes, yeah, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. And they take him up in a helicopter and lower him down on like a cable, where Potty then has to wrap a noose around the crocodile, this half-ton crocodile that they just killed, and lift it up and away from all the other crocs. And that was the only safe way to do it. Potty, everyone was giving him plaudits and stuff like that, or he calls them plaudits, because it was so brave. I mean, yeah, I guess, but he didn't, it was a helicopter, all right? It was kind of brave. Maybe just one hand clapping, maybe just one hand hitting nothing. Yeah, sure, I wouldn't have done it, but it's not like he walked through 20 crocodiles to get to this one. He was lowered down. You're like, Jason, I'd love to see you try with a bunch of mouths snapping at you. Nah, it's kind of impressive, but not really. So, anyways, Potty, they take this half-ton croc, they fly it out of the area, and then they just land where they do a field autopsy. Basically, they just cut it open to see what's inside. And the result was even more terrifying than any of them could have guessed. First off, they unfortunately do find the remains of Gabriel in this croc. But not all of them. They did do DNA tests to confirm that this was Gabriel, but what they found was 2 severed arms with the hands still attached. half a rib cage and chest flesh. Disgusting. So anyways, they're looking at this and they go, well, I mean, most likely the rest of him are in other crocs. This guy must have gotten the most. It's possible that he digested it really quickly. Crocodiles can digest almost anything fairly rapidly because they shut off the blood to their lungs and they get extra like carbon dioxide in their belly or something like that. I tried looking it up. The point is that their stomach acid becomes not stronger. It's the same stomach acid in other animals, but it works more efficiently. It's possible that he digested the rest of this guy relatively quickly. The authorities think probably Gabriel went downstream, and while this croc got the lion's share, no pun intended, that's why he was up taking a nap, the rest of them got a foot or maybe like an ankle, maybe the other half of the rib cage. Authorities don't know if Gabriel was dead by the time that he went down. It was about a 60-meter journey via river, via not in a boat, rampaging water, splashing you around. They go, it's possible that he drowned before he got to that part. It's also possible, though, that he didn't and they ate him alive. But that's not the horrifying part. I mean, that's sad and it is horrifying. But the other thing the authorities found in this crocodile's stomach really has them scratching their heads and looking through some old cold cases of missing people. Because in this crocodile, not only did they find partial remains of Gabriel, they found 6 pairs of shoes. That's one of the few things a crocodile can't digest is tennis shoes. Any sort of rubbery sole type of shoe, it can't digest it. It can digest your pants, digest your underwear, but it can't digest shoes. 6 pairs of shoes inside this crocodile. And the authority doesn't think this guy was just walking around eating shoes. They go, this thing probably ate 6 people before this weekend. Over how long? Who knows? Was it 6 people in the past year? Was it 6 people in the past couple months? Was it 6 people over the past couple years? Like, they don't know. They just found 6 pairs of shoes, so they believe that this crocodile was responsible for eating 6 other people. Which is really interesting, because if you think about it, they took this crocodile at random. I mean, they didn't take it at random. They saw that it had eaten someone who was taking a little nap. But you know what I mean? You wonder if you checked the stomachs of all those crocs, how many pairs of shoes would you find? If one of them had 6 pairs of shoes, I think you could argue a lot of them would have 1 pair of shoes in them. Crazy story, a man-eating monster. We often look at the stories of cryptids and go, wow, that monster's spooky. But it turns out the real monster is waiting in the water. Interesting segment, and yeah, it is weird, right? Because you go, well, why is it okay to make fun of that guy dying? I wasn't doing sound effects. It's like, whoa! Falls into the water, and the alligator or the crocodile goes, gulp. You know, I try to keep it fairly respectful. But, you know, why'd you do that segment about some random guy dying? Getting eaten alive, one of the worst ways you can die, I imagine. Right? It would depend on how big it was that was eating me. Jason, don't start talking about your vaguely disguised vor fetish again. I don't have a vor fetish. But if I was to be eaten by something huge, right? Like a whale, I'm all, putting on lipstick. Ooh la la, come here, Moby Dick, take a bite out of me. If I got eaten by a giant monster or an animal, and I could like live in his stomach for a while, I'm melting. I was like, oh, this is the life. This is way more comfortable than my normal house. You know what I mean? Like, I figure I'd probably like hide on a part of its belly so I wouldn't have stomach acid on me, right? I'm like sitting on a little island of blubber, and it would be, I imagine it's super warm in there too, and steamy and acidic, very, very acidic. Maybe I have like a flashlight. I wouldn't like that. Jason, you liar. You're totally a liar. You want to get eaten? No, I don't. Because here's the thing. I'd be afraid. I go, oh no, at any point, like if I try to take a nap, oh man, it sure was a lot of work getting swallowed by this whale. I am tired. I'd be afraid I'd fall asleep and then roll into the acid. So it'd be horrible, right? And as long as I'm on this little blubber island inside of this dude's stomach, I'll stay alive. Because it's eating fish. And I'm like grabbing fish as they're about to go into the stomach acid. I go, ha, you're mine, trout. Eat it up. And I learn a recipe. I dip it in the stomach acid for just 30 seconds. Singes the skin just right. Nom, nom, nom. I could stay alive for quite a while in a big enough creature's belly. I imagine, right? Let's assume there's also oxygen to breathe. Because if there isn't, 2 minutes tops. But other than that, like, let's say I have, like, there's, like, a pipe hooked up to its lungs. As long as I'm able to get oxygen, I can eat what it eats. I could probably live in there for a while. I wouldn't want to, just so we're clear. But here's the thing. What would you rather have happen to you? Would you rather be swallowed by a giant monster and, maybe you'll find your way out? You could end it quickly by jumping in the acid and letting it dissolve all of you. And then eventually, that would kill you, right? Or maybe you could figure out a way to, like, circumvent the stomach acid straight into the butthole and... One day a whale watching tour is like, oh, look at this beautiful humpback whale. Look at it swim around. Oh, Willie, you're always doing the greatest tricks. And he's like jumping in the air, spinning around. And I jump out. Whee! Ta-da! Land on the boat, do a little bow. As my skin's melting off. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't able to completely circumvent the stomach. Or you could just live in there until you die. It's kind of your choice. But if you were eaten by an animal that's actually tearing you limb from limb, you don't have really a choice. Like, your head's going to go in this guy's stomach, and your legs are going to go in this guy's stomach, and your arms are going to go to this guy's stomach, and so on and so forth. Your head is looking out of the crocodile's mouth. You're like, no, my legs. Oh, man, I really like those guys. As two other crocodiles are eating them up. You go, Jason, you are making jokes about this guy. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you go, why is it okay to make jokes about Gabriel and not jokes about this U.S. soldier named Dieter? You guys probably know the story. They made a movie out of it starring Christian Bale, Rescue Dawn. One, these jokes are funny. That's a big decider on whether or not to continue with that episode. The other one is there's a difference between getting eaten alive by a crocodile and the other story where a soldier, I don't know if he was a Thailand soldier or a U.S. soldier, but it was an ally of ours, is disemboweled and then has to spend the next 6 months carrying his intestines in his hand. Or hands. He didn't just have one hand. He probably would use one hand to eat while the other hand's holding the intestines. See, I almost told a joke. I almost told a joke there about watching the food digest through the... I'm all, hey, can I get in there, buddy? Don't tell anyone at this POW camp, but I have a huge vor fetish. Can I get in there? Oh, rubbing my head into his open stomach wound. See, that's gross. It's not only is that gross, it's super disrespectful. These guys died fighting for our country and their country during the Vietnam War. I do try to have some limits. The first limit is the joke funny. If the joke's not funny, then you gotta get rid of it. And the second limit, maybe don't crack jokes about a guy who's been disemboweled. The joke was, because I'm sure you guys are all curious, you're like, no, we're not. It's a bad joke. You already said it's terrible multiple times. It was kind of a joke, but I actually was curious about that. I said in the episode about the guy who got disemboweled, I go, that actually would be super uncomfortable because you'd have to carry your intestines around all the time, and I'm sure your arms would start to cramp up. That's not a joke at all. I know. But it even isn't a joke. At the same time, when I said that, I was thinking about that, and I go, yeah, how long could you hold 10 pounds of intestines? I don't think you could hold a 5-pound book for 6 months without putting it down. Because your arms would get tired. It is an observation, right? And it's a tasteless joke. And that guy does eventually die. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, it was 40 minutes of that. It was 40 minutes of stuff like that. I didn't even finish the story. I got to the point where they broke out of the prisoner of war camp and they're running through the jungle. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the audio recording and I go, this isn't working. I talked for 40 minutes about this guy, this American hero, and it's just not working. The jokes aren't funny. Come on, I thought Prisoners of War was going to be a barrel of laughs. So anyways, yeah, that episode scrapped, so I'm kind of am stumbling around for stuff right now. But I do like that crocodile story, because it's just creepy. There is that story a couple of years back. We might have talked about this on the podcast. People who read the newspaper daily, because we're all reading the newspaper on the same day, a lot of times when we meet up, this has happened to me my entire life, because I read the newspaper every day. And not everyone reads the news every day, but you'll be sitting in the break room at work or something like that, and you turn to a guy and you're like, dude, did you see in the news today? And the other person was like, the old man who got attacked by the alligator? Like, they know it. We were all traumatized at the exact same time. A couple of years ago, there was a big flood in the south of America, the southern states. I forgot where it took place. I'll put the episode in the show notes. I'll put the article in the show notes. An elderly couple is at their house, and there was a flood, and there was an alligator thrashing around in their shed. Now, they didn't know that's what was in there. The elderly man goes, I'll go out and see what's thrashing around in there. It's probably just water, Martha. Probably just water. But it wasn't. He opened the shed door, and a massive crocodile or alligator popped out, whichever one it was, and ripped his arm off. It just immediately just ripped his arm off. Martha, Martha, no! Blood spurting all over the place, and Martha comes running out. Jerry, Jerry! Oh my! And they retreated up these stairs. There's like these external stairs on the exterior of the house. And she's trying to call 911, but because it's such a big flood, the calls are swamped. No pun intended. But anyways, they can't get a hold of anyone, and they bandage up or put like trying to stop the blood on Jerry's arm. And she goes, I'm going to have to go get help. Like, you're not well enough to leave. I'm going to have to go get a hospital people to show up, nurses or something like that. So I honestly think like she boated down there. I think they had a boat. Like this was a big flood and they knew it was coming. She goes and she lets the medical people know, hey, my husband just got attacked by an alligator. And they'll go, let's go, let's go. So then they go back to the house and he was gone. And so was the alligator. The gator either came up the stairs or the old man passed out due to loss of blood and rolled down the stairs, but they figured that gator finished him off and then just swam away. Terrible, terrible story. And everyone read it in the newspaper on the same day, and then when you'd meet someone, you'd see someone reading the newspaper, you're like, oh, you might want to skip page 3, buddy. It's pretty intense. Gruesome stuff. And that probably would be if I was trying not to drown in an alligator or a crocodile got me and started doing the death spin, I mean, it would scare me, right? But I would realize that I'm not going to be alive much longer. If part of me got eaten and then I'm sitting there and for the next 30 minutes or however long, 10 minutes, it really wouldn't matter, there's an alligator looking at you, trying to figure out how to get the rest of you, that prolonged terror would be worse. Speaking of which, and we'll segue after this, let me do a really quick Dead Rabbit Radio Recommends. I saw this movie years ago called Blackwater. It's about a killer alligator. It was about a killer alligator, and it's based on a true story. It's not like a magical alligator or a demon-possessed alligator or anything like that. It's just an alligator that is cruel. Now, the movie doesn't frame it as there's anything special about this alligator. They don't find out his origin story or anything like that. His origin story was he hatched from an egg, but the way it's shot, the way that they portray this alligator, they make him out to be cruel. Almost haughty. Not as an attractive, but like it enjoys the chaos that it's causing. And it's really well done. I remember one scene in particular, a guy falls into the water and is killed by the alligator, but the alligator doesn't eat him right away because he already ate somebody else. He's full. And then it showed the survivors are up in the tree in the swamp, and there's a lightning storm. They're in the middle of nowhere. This is like deep, deep in Australia is where the movie takes place. There's lightning storms going on, and you just hear the crackling of the lightning, and it's pitch black, because they're in the middle of nowhere, until the lightning lights up the area, and the huge rainstorm's going on. And even above the rain and the lightning crashes, you can hear the crocodile, or gator, whatever it was, I'll just keep calling it crocodile, eat him. Eat this guy. And you hear the bones snapping. And his fiance, she's one of the people up in the tree, is she just screaming over and over again, "It's eating him! Oh my God, it's eating him!" It's a very erotic movie if you think about it, guys. Just imagine. And she's just screaming, "It's eating him! It's eating him!" And then the final shot of that scene is just the alligator with his head poking out of the water, kind of looking at her. Like he's a jerk. He was like eating him to be mean. He was being extra loud while he was eating the fiance. It's a really good movie, Blackwater. Dead Rabbit Radio recommends Blackwater if you're looking for a survival movie. It's a pretty good ending, too. I really like that one. Anyways, we're done with the alligators, or the crocodiles. Santa, let's go ahead and toss you the keys of the world. Famous Carpenter Copter, we're leaving behind our alligator crocodile madness episode. Why don't you fly us all the way out to South Dakota? Hold up, Santa. Actually, we're not going to South Dakota again with crazy mixed up episode. I didn't plan on covering this story I'm about to cover right now, but it's breaking news, evolving hour by hour, and I wanted to kind of get ahead of it. I already can see into the future. I already know what's going to happen, but it's because it's just spreading all over the internet right now. It's blown up. The first time I saw it, I thought it was fake, honestly. And then once Newsweek started covering it, I go, oh, okay, it's real. It just wasn't a fake tweet. It actually, someone did tweet it out, and major publications are talking about it. It's going all over the internet. But I'll try to keep it brief. And I gotta say, I've read a lot of articles on it. I don't have a ton of notes on it. I didn't plan on covering it today. And I'll try to do it as succinctly as possible. So what's been going on? We're getting these reports that Christian ministers have been having meetings with politicians and members of the U.S. government with a single message. There's been multiple meetings reportedly, but all of them cover the same thing. Trump is about to announce the existence of alien life, confirmed alien life, and you need to get your congregations ready because this may completely shake their faith. So these politicians and members of government are having these meetings with evangelists and ministers, YouTubers who are ministers, all of this stuff, to say, hey, listen, you got to get your people ready for this info. Now, I have a problem with that. Honestly. All of the articles I'm seeing, this might sound odd, but all of these articles I'm seeing are related to the Christian faith and the existence of aliens possibly making them question their faith and question everything they know of. I've seen no articles where rabbis have been invited to these meetings or imams have been invited to these meetings, Hindu priests. Nothing. No other religion except Christianity. And that pisses me off excuse my language, but for two reasons. One, I don't want to get up on a big soapbox with this thing. It pisses me off for two reasons. One, it's very exclusive. On the one hand, you're saying not worried about Jewish faith, we're not worried about Muslim faith, we're only worried about the Christian faith, and we're only worried about what they will feel if aliens visited, and we're actually not preparing anyone else for this. I mean, really, if they confirm alien life, if they have proof of alien life, that would be a huge event, for sure. And imagine if some guy knew that aliens were real and he invited two of your buddies to come over, but not you, and told them all the stuff. You're like, hey, why not me? And well, you don't need to know this information. Now, I understand logically, because we've covered this before. I can't remember the name of the group off the top of my head, but we did an episode a long time ago, and it was basically that the main reason why the U.S. government doesn't announce that there are aliens is because there is a group of high-level Christian followers, Christian believers in the government, and they believe that the aliens are either demonic or do not have our best interest in mind or would be such a shock to Christianity that they don't want to reveal that information. It's a conspiracy theory that basically there's a group of Christians that control the government so much that they can lock down all that info. And so if that conspiracy theory is true, they would want to warn their own. You could definitely make that argument. And I know that America is majority Christian, but It's still, I mean, you still might want to invite the Muslims and the Jewish people and the Sikhs and the Hindus and all of that, the Buddhists. So it pisses me off because to be that exclusionary just towards Christianity. The other reason why it pisses me off is almost the opposite. It's basically saying the Jewish faith, they'll be okay. They won't be shocked by any of this. It doesn't affect their religion at all. The Muslim faith, they're okay. We don't need to give them any meetings because it's not going to affect their beliefs at all. But Christians are so shaky in their faith, they're wilting lilies in the heat, that the single slightest push against their faith causes them to collapse. You know what I mean? It like goes both ways. One of them you're saying we only want to alert the Christians. The other one's saying, well, the Muslims, they'll have it covered. And the Jewish people, they'll have it covered. But Christians, they're just so weak-kneed. We better give them a heads up. Both of those thoughts really kind of irritate me. Because it does seem, all of these articles are saying, listen, man, we got to let your congregation know because they'll just lose it. But if you're not telling Jewish people, you're not telling Muslim people, you're not telling Buddhist people, you're not telling Sikh, and you're not telling Hindus, the argument is that Christianity is a weak faith full of weak believers. And anything pushing up against them will cause them to tumble and break their faith. But everyone else is much stronger in their faith. That annoys me as well. So both of those things annoy me. Both of those things annoy me as to why only Christian leaders, ministers were invited to these meetings, because we've had no word of anyone else being invited. But that's not the reason why I wanted to talk about it. The reason why I wanted to talk about it, what I saw originally that I thought was a fake tweet, which turned out to be real, was some bonehead, I don't know this guy. I've never heard of this guy before, but what an idiot. I'm sorry if you're a huge fan of this guy. Maybe you are. I don't know. But anyways, there's this dork who wrote a tweet and basically said what was talked about in one of these meetings. Let me pull this up here real quick. This guy is a YouTuber. He's a pastor and YouTuber, Larry Ragland. He wrote on X that, quote, a very well-known congressman from Missouri called into the meeting. So this is calling into the meeting where all these ministers are out and they're discussing about UFO disclosure. He said a very well-known congressman from Missouri called into the meeting and told the group of ministers that, this is again continuing the quote, they are preparing to tell us, they meaning the government, they are preparing to tell us that the aliens are from another dimension, that they are our creator, and that these beings, these aliens, whatever you want to call them, they were the ones that seated us here. There is no such thing as God. Jesus was invented by them. The Bible was invented by them. Unquote. So Larry Ragland tweeted that was some of the information he got from the government, or from this Missouri lawmaker, who's a member of the government, saying, this is why you got to let your people know, because we're going to reveal that Jesus never existed, that God doesn't exist, which God not existing would impact a lot of religions. Again, why they're specifying Christianity is because they think Christians are weak, or is it they think Christians are better and they're the only ones deserving this knowledge? Both are irritating to me. God's not real. Jesus was invented by aliens. The Bible was invented by them. All of this stuff. So what do you think would happen if a minister... How many followers does this guy have on YouTube? I should check that out. But what do you think would happen if, let alone your minister told you that, hey, listen, I got a call from a member of the government. Oh, well, I have more subscribers than he does. I mean, not to flex or anything, but I have like 10,000 more subscribers than he does. So his reach isn't the biggest, but that's interesting. His reach isn't the biggest, but that tweet went viral. He's saying a congressman called up and said this stuff, and we got to tell our congregations, hey guys, just to let you know, the government is about to show information that Jesus is not real and neither is God. Imagine if that was true. The government came out tomorrow and they showed you proof. Now, in this thought experiment that we're using, because I know whenever I bring this stuff up, I get a lot of comments going, well, I wouldn't believe it. And that's fair, but let's say that whatever they show you meets your level of proof. My level of proof of that would be extremely high. Someone who's an atheist probably would have they'd probably not believe the aliens in the first place, but you know what I mean? Like, a college professor can give a 1-hour presentation to someone who doesn't already believe in the Bible, and you would nod your head and go, yeah, that's kind of what I thought anyways. Again, not saying atheists are weak-minded or anything like that, but you know what I mean? If you already have a predetermined thought that the Bible's fake, and you are listening to a lecturer who studied Middle Eastern texts and has read the Bible back and forth and really delved into it, studied it, learned Hebrew, learned the original language, and they said, yeah, this is fake, we don't believe this. You already don't believe in it, so you'd go, yeah, that's kind of what I figured. If someone was shaky in their faith and that presentation was brought to them, they might go, well, it's kind of interesting. But my standard of evidence is higher because I believe. I'm a Christian. And it's one thing, like, I remember watching, I really love this documentary. I watch it every couple of years, right? Maybe every 5 or 10 years. Religious by Bill Maher. I'm a huge Bill Maher fan. And I love that documentary, and I think that he did great work in it. I don't agree with everything in it, but I'm still willing to listen to the arguments, and he puts them together in an entertaining way. It's a very interesting documentary. Because he's atheist, right? So he's coming at it from that viewpoint, and he kind of takes down all religions, which I appreciate, right? I don't like targeted stuff. If you want to talk about religion, talk about religion. All of it. But, if the government showed me a video of alien life and the alien was giving a speech about how, I'd probably go, whoa, that's a real alien. That's actually a real alien. But I'd go, I don't really believe him when he's saying this stuff that he created religion and all of that stuff. Because I don't believe that's true. I'd have to be showing a higher level of evidence than an atheist on it, or even someone who's just a non-believer, someone who is, agnostic. What that level of evidence would be, I don't know. See, I don't think that nothing could ever shake my faith. I think that would be a little egotistical of me. But I would really have to be convinced. The video wouldn't do it. I'd believe that the aliens were real, but I wouldn't believe what they were saying was real. But also, I'm not so staunch in my faith that nothing can shake it. I don't think anybody is ever that hard set in their faith. You can push and pull and question, and, I'm not going to say I believe no matter what. I try to, right? That's part of having faith, but of course. The one time recently that my faith was really questioned, I remember this, was, and it's going to sound weird, but the Uvalde shooting. What was that, a couple of years ago? That guy went into a elementary school and killed like 20 or 30 kids and shot up that classroom and then died. He killed himself, or the cops shot him. I don't remember exactly what, but I remember that day I struggled with my faith. Not the fact that I wondered why God could allow such evil in the world. That wasn't it. It was, I imagined him going to hell, and that wasn't bad enough for him. I remember sitting there thinking, imagine that he dies and then he appears in hell. He deserved worse. But my faith doesn't allow for worse. I remember having that thought. I remember Jason, that's not really questioning your fate. That's questioning your lust for revenge. Also, people don't kill crocodiles for revenge. They do it because they're afraid it might eat more people. And revenge, too. But yeah, I remember, and I kind of sat there and I had that thought, and I go, that's not enough for him. And I kind of sat there and I thought, well, that's the worst as it gets. Even if you're boiling in fire for 1,000,000 years, does that equal killing all those kids? I can't imagine any sort of torment that shooter could have gone through that would have been suitable. But my faith doesn't allow anything worse than that. But anyway, so this was interesting. I saw this tweet, and I didn't believe it. I go, no, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I didn't know that there was a meeting. I just saw the tweet out of context, and I was like, what is any of this stuff? And I just kind of assumed it was fake. But then, this is what pisses me off about this part of the story. It turns out it never happened. And that's why I wanted to talk about it before the weekend, because it's already going viral, and this is a problem. That idiot, Larry Ragland, his tweet is going to last longer than all of the stories debunking it. And he has actually apologized for it. Larry goes, sorry, I misspoke. I own this, was his words. I own this. He admits that none of this was said at the meeting. None of it. But how many times are you going to see this image shared on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? People are going to be bringing it up for the next 5-10 years. When you talk about aliens and religion and disclosure, this is going to be going around. This guy's a moron. And the reason why he got called out on it, because remember he said a Missouri lawmaker called into the meeting. Well, guess what? That Missouri lawmaker came out. He saw all of this stuff going on, and his name, Eric Burleson, he's a representative of Missouri, Eric Burleson, because Larry Ragland didn't say his name. Eric came out and said, hey, dude, I was the guy from Missouri who called in, and I didn't say anything like that. Nothing. Eric says, I called in, because this meeting did happen. This actually did happen, so that part of the story is real. Which, again, why are they only calling Christian ministers? There are these meetings going on. That part is not made up. But Eric Burleson said, I just called in to say, hey guys, just want to give you guys a heads up. I want to encourage you to keep the faith. I like what you guys are doing, being missionaries, spreading the word of Christ. And he said this, Eric posted this on his Twitter. He said, quote, I would remind people to listen to what I've already stated publicly, because he does have an interest in UFOs. He says, quote, I would remind people to listen to what I have stated publicly, which is basically the following. I do not know what the strange objects in the skies are, and I certainly do not know their origins. I was asked to call in by phone to a conference of theologians. Unquote. So where did Larry Ragland get this from? Because he, again, admitted that he made it up. That nobody said this. He goes, well, here's the thing. That's stuff that I believe in, Larry said. Larry said, I believe that aliens will come and say that they wrote the Bible and there is no God and there is no Jesus. And I got it mixed up because I included my opinion. And I said another guy said it. But that was my mistake. That's just what I was thinking is going to happen. Now listen, I'm for all types of discussions in faith, right? If you're a minister and you want to talk about maybe the Bible isn't written by man, maybe it's not the Word of God, maybe it's interdimensional entities. If that's your take on the Bible, that's fine by me. I disagree. I think it's super interesting, right? I think it's a cool sci-fi concept. You could argue that God is an alien. I would find that more believable than that it was all just made up to control humanity. If God is some sort of alien consciousness, sure. Right? I'd be willing to have that conversation. And to me, he almost is alien, right? It's something that existed before time, before the universe. You can't really get more alien than that. I don't think he's a gray alien, right? I don't think he's a gray alien. But here's the thing. If that's your take on the Bible and you have a congregation that accepts that, go nuts. It does not affect me at all what you teach in your place of worship. It really doesn't, as long as it's not interfering with my life or my safety or anything like that. I won't go to that church. I might stop in, right? Because I think it's interesting, but does that match my faith? No. So it wouldn't be a place that I'd really feel comfortable. But here's the thing. You can have those viewpoints. Don't say that somebody else said them. The problem is that this tweet, I mean, like when I was looking for I read the Newsweek article maybe like an hour ago, and I was like, gotta cover this, right? I do gotta cover this. Because then I go, well, let me double check something. And then I found 4 more articles published in the last 5 hours about it. It's spreading so quickly. And 2 of the articles were saying, can you believe the government's saying this? The apology has not caught up to the conspiracy yet. And it never will. It never will. And it sucks. It totally sucks. I think it's bad for the UFO movement. I think it's bad for the UFO movement because it's not true. And anyone who looks into it at all will see it's not true. Your mom posts this. Your mom posts it on Facebook, and then you look it up, and you're like, Mom, this has been discredited. But it's too late. Your mom already believes it, right? Your mom already believes it. Oh, the government, I can't trust them at all anymore. It's bad for UFOlogy. It's bad for journalism, because people have been covering this and not covering the apology. But you know what's funny? You know the person that it's not bad for is Larry Ragland. His name is connected to the tweet, and then people will go to his YouTube channel and check him out. I mean, whatever. It does seem that he does a lot of religious UFO content. Fine. I mean, like, I have no problem with all of that stuff. I just have a problem with lying. And lying about a topic, multiple topics that are near and dear to me. UFOs. I love the whole idea. I believe that there are aliens out there. And religion. My religion. So, I mean, irritating. And here's the thing. This episode will get buried among all of the media out there that's just reporting the first part, that the government said aliens are about to say the Bible is not real. And see, Larry's trying to say that don't believe the aliens, don't trust the aliens, they're going to say this. But just looking at the tweet, you don't get that. It sounds like there's no doubt. If you just look at the tweet, the thing that was tweeted, it looks like he's saying, boys and girls, this is the truth. There is no God, there is no Jesus. It's aliens all the way down. So it's just irritating, man. You know, I was getting ready to tell a story about I'm actually recording this real late at night. It's like past 10. This episode needs to get out in a couple hours, but I couldn't wait until next week, because by then there'll be dozens and dozens. And I know dozens and dozens and dozens of articles, and I know a lot of you guys would email me this as well, because you guys are really good about finding these stories. But yeah, interesting story, great sci-fi novel. And you know what? Like I said, if it was true and you showed me super compelling evidence above the normal standard, would I believe it? I can't say that I wouldn't. If they teleported me back in time, alien, and I knew it was real, I knew it wasn't a hologram, I knew it wasn't some sort of drugs or my brain was in a jar or something like that, and they showed me that none of the events of the Bible ever happened, and I, again, believe, like, it's true. Not saying, well, I wouldn't believe the aliens. They meet your standard of what they would need to say. For me, it would probably need to be time travel, but they show me, they're looking, none of this stuff ever happened. And I knew it wasn't an alternate universe. I knew it wasn't a trick. They were actually being honest, and they were going out of their way to take me time traveling while stepping on butterflies the whole time. Would I believe them if they met my standard of evidence, which would be extremely high in this case? Well, yeah. Which is weird to say, right? Because I do think I'm strong in my faith. But again, this is hypothetical. If they met that standard, which would be very high for me. But anyway, so this dork tweeted this out, and he's completely derailed the disclosure conversation. He's completely derailed UFOs in general. Right? Now we're going to get back. The Connor Elite, that was the name of the group. The Connor Elite, that was their whole thing, that the aliens are here to disrupt the religion, to destroy Christianity and destroy humanity as well. This is going to play into all of that stuff. The Connor Elite might actually exist. That would explain why only Christian ministers are getting called to these meetings. But this sure isn't helping. Nonsense like this. I'll put the episode for the Connor Elite in the show notes. Actually, I'll rerun it as a Retro Rabbit for tomorrow. That would be kind of interesting as well. Brian Blackwood told me the Retro Rabbits always work better when they're related to something you talked about during the week, and I've been trying to do that, so thanks for that advice, Brian. Well, anyways, I was planning on telling a story about an alien encounter at a rest stop, but instead I got a breaking news story about fake alien news, which, again, will be part of the main conspiracy for a long time. And honestly, now that I think about it, I said that ruins UFOlogy. It doesn't ruin, but it derails UFO disclosure. It derails conversations about Christianity and its place in the world. But there's one, I said earlier, there's one person who would benefit from this. I said Larry Ragland. He's going to get people going to his channel, checking him out. There's another group of people who really would benefit from this information. The Collins Elite. This is exactly what they've been talking about. Behind closed doors, if they exist. Now it's out there in the open. So it could be a psyop. Even the apology could be a psyop. But eventually you just kind of got to step back from the microphone. I could go on for another 20 minutes about this. but I think I would be rambling. I don't think I'd be saying anything new. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Sorry for this crazy episode. Lots of stuff thrown together last minute, but I hope, and you can kind of tell, right? The first part, my energy level wasn't that high, and this time my throat's a little dry because it's, again, late at night, and I should be in bed, but I'm recording this because I love recording this. I love making this show for both of us, me and you. It's so much fun. So much fun. deadrabbitradio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at facebook.com/deadrabbitradio. TikTok is @deadrabbitradio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great weekend. Finish him! Dun 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 dun. Johnny Cage. Dun 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 dun. Melena. Dun 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 dun. Goro. Dun dun. I'm just gonna name off every Mortal Kombat character. There's like 52 at this point. Dun 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 dun. Sector. Dun 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 dun. You're like, what? Oh yeah, I forgot an hour ago he said he was gonna go see Mortal Kombat this weekend. Johnny Cage? Did I already say Johnny Cage? Well, I guess I gotta start over. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Shao Kahn. Dun, 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 dun. Smoke. Dun, 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 dun. Sub-Zero. You're like, wow, he's really committing to the bit. How long is this going to go on for? Dun, dun. Okay. I have at least 20 more names I know. Have a great weekend, guys.